All right, so let's get this started because we do want to make this fast-paced, short and sweet. Hello, everybody. My name is Claudio, and I'm doing this here together with Nathan Gold today. And the reason why we are doing this is early in the year. We were thinking and brainstorming, how can we help other presenters to improve their skills? And all of a sudden we realized that you can learn presentation skills nowadays almost everywhere. Courses are available to no end. But learning also includes practicing and getting feedback. And we really missed that somewhere. So we said, hey, why not create a platform? And so we created the Presenter Zone, which is a community for presenters to learn, to discuss, and to get feedback. And part of this are these live events. So the first one is Pitch in the Zone. And in this event, we will have 3 people presenting for 3 minutes. Give a short little pitch. Once we have the 3 pitches in, we're going into a review session. That review session will be led by Nathan Gold. By the way, if you're not familiar with Nathan, he is one of the most sought after pitch coaches and presentation coaches. He focuses on really the high level, these make it or break it kind of presentations. So Nathan will lead the session with the review, but everybody is encouraged. If you notice something that you think might help the presenter to improve, please just raise your hand and participate in the feedback as well. And then the third session is going to be a short 10-15 minutes of pro tips that Nathan has used to help numerous companies to raise millions of dollars from VCs and to prepare speakers for their once-in-a-lifetime kind of keynotes. All right, so as Nathan would say, in these meetings, we don't want to give you any empty calories. We just give you solid nourishment. And that's why I'm gonna be quiet now and introduce the first of our presenters. We have today 3 companies. We have John Ladaga, we have Mayan from Bangkok, and we have Vishwa from Bangalore. John, would you like to be the first one?
Go ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, cool. I love the spirit. So you have 3 minutes. If you go a little bit over, no problem. If you go a little bit under, no problem. But try to be somewhere in the 3-minute-ish range with your pitch. The floor is yours. John Ladaga from Proxii.
Am I good to share some slides as well?
Sure,
If you want, you know how.
All right,
Yep.
let's do it. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna. There. That's weird.
As usual, things.
What we call the demo effect.
You know what though? I think that I can just speak to it. I think that it's going to be a compelling enough story that we can just roll with it. How about that?
How about that?
Sounds great.
Right?
Who's the audience, John?
Okay, let's get started. So hello everyone, good morning, good evening, wherever you are today. My name is John Ladaga and I am so thrilled to be here to share with you my passion for what's going on in the e-commerce world. Now, what you may not be aware of is that there's actually a dirty little secret that most people don't know about e-commerce companies. And actually, it's not so little. When it comes to small to medium-sized e-commerce companies that are growing and building their supply chains up, they tend to reach a point where they've been stretched beyond their level of expertise. And they're searching and struggling, and they don't know where to go or who to ask for help in order to scale their supply chain properly. We have the answers for those companies right now. One of the biggest hurdles these companies face as they scale is finding the right third-party logistics partner. When they've outgrown fulfilling orders from their living room, they can outsource that work to a 3PL. You see, 3PLs have large warehouses and advanced machinery to take an e-commerce company that's growing to the next level. But it's a big, massive, hairy decision to make. There are over 10,000 3PL options in the United States alone. And in order to sift through all of this noise, companies are relying on word-of-mouth references. And they have to contact each 3PL individually, calling them up on the phone to figure out their unique value and pricing models. Searching for a 3PL today is like using the yellow pages to search for a good restaurant in a city that you've never been to before. Think about that. You got no reviews, no menus, no pictures, and definitely no prices. Proxii, our solution, is like handing an e-commerce company Yelp for the very first time. Proxii makes it easy to search, evaluate, and select the best 3PLs. And it's so simple. All an e-commerce company has to do is answer just a little bit of information about their company. It takes like 2 minutes. And we instantly display a ranked top 10 list of 3PLs that match their unique criteria. And these companies can search and compare side by side, and when they're ready, they confirm their top 5. And we connect these companies with important references. We schedule virtual warehouse tours, and we streamline a competitive bid process so that they can get the very best value at the very best prices. We're saving e-commerce companies time so they can do literally anything else. And we are just getting started with Proxii. We're building the team up, and we have a roadmap to help these companies proactively monitor their full distribution supply chain so they can make smarter decisions to scale and renegotiate with vendors when the time is right. Again, my name is John Ladaga from Proxii, and we are on a mission to make supply chain decisions easier for growing e-commerce companies. So if you know anyone who owns or works for a growing e-commerce company and you haven't heard or seen them in a while, it's probably because they're running around with their hair on fire trying to fix their broken supply chain. Give them my email address. I'd love to make their life just a little bit easier. Thank you.
Wow, very, very cool, very cool. Thank you very much. You came in at around 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so pretty good. And I will leave it at this for the moment. We are switching over to the second presenter, which is going to be Mayank. Are you ready, and are you going to share any slides? And who is your audience?
Right, absolutely. Sure. So our audience usually would fall in 3 categories. That would be taxi owners and taxi companies in Bangkok, media agencies in Bangkok, and most importantly, B2C companies in Bangkok that need to advertise to a large audience. Having said that, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and pleased to meet you all. And is it okay for me to share my screen and get started?
Please do. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Please let me know when you're able to see my screen.
In just a second. Yes, it's up now. Perfect.
Perfect. So hello, everyone. We are Brands on Road. And as the name suggests, we take your brand to your customers who spend a lot of time on the road. If you're familiar with Bangkok traffic, and I hope you guys are not, it is, when we talk about Bangkok traffic, we're talking huge numbers. We're talking 64 hours a year being spent in traffic. We're talking about 150 taxis plying the roads. We're talking about 10 million people taking 12 million trips a day, which in turn turns out to be a good opportunity for somebody like us who advertises on these roads. And just last year, Thailand was spending $15.1 billion, a billion baht in ad spend in out of home, out of which 2.4 was in digital. And we're trying to capture a chunk of that market. And we're trying to capture that chunk through a three-pronged approach where we have taxi top LED screens, taxi wraps, and social box engagement. And we're trying to solve the major pain point of traceability and accountability and measurability of out-of-home advertising. And the secret sauce to what we do is our platform, which is a combination of hardware that has a bunch of trackers, including GPS and cameras and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and the software side of things where you can manage an out-of-home advertising just like you would a digital advertising campaign. In terms of how we're doing so far, we have 130 taxis on the road already. And we are poised to grow up to 1,000 by the end of this year, the whole COVID situation notwithstanding. And the whole point for the next few months is to scale up to a threshold where we are reaching a lot of people. In terms of how we monetize them, we're selling airtime, we are selling campaign management services. And what we feel is the most interesting part is the Own a Screen program, where taxi owners and media agencies and ad buyers, they can buy a screen themselves and get a revenue share on the screen, making us the platform player that enables the whole ecosystem. During the whole COVID phase, we've obviously taken a hit because out-of-home advertising means going out of home. So that's not been happening. So we've still had a few sign-ups and people essentially trying to use the platform, giving us feedback and spending time improving that. And just putting those things in numbers, we've had over 600 total hours of play in Bangkok in May. That leads up to around 500,000 impressions a day. And the numbers in May, again, COVID notwithstanding, have also been promising, and it's good to see Bangkok coming back to life after these few months. And what we are looking for currently, other than investors, is that we're looking for strategic partners. We're looking at growing and building our technology platform, and we're looking at agency partners and resellers who help us grow our footprint in the market. So this is about us. If you're in and around Bangkok and are stuck in traffic, you should definitely see one of our screens and give us a shout out.
Awesome. Very, very good. Very good. Really, really excellent. Loved your energy here, and I look forward to what Nathan has observed in just a moment. But before we get to that, let's get to our third presenter for today, which is Vishwa from Bangalore, which will talk about his IoT solution. Vishwa?
Yes, yes, Claudio. Hello all, good morning and good evening, those who are all there in the geographically different location.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I can't really hear you.
Can I hear me? Can you hear me?
It's
very low.
Very, very low volume, Vishwa. Very low.
1 second. Yeah, 1 second.
The microphone seems to have switched on him, perhaps. Yeah, that's better. Put in your headset.
Now it's better?
No.
Still not better?
Not really. You may have to switch the audio source in the lower left corner of Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know where it says mute, there is a little up arrow next to it. And that's where you can select your microphone.
Is it clear now?
Not really. Just speak really, really up. Just use some volume, use some energy, and I think we will be able to do.
Is Is it clear?
Yes. Okay, there we go.
Super. Sorry for the inconvenience. Can I share my desktop?
Sure.
Go ahead. Yeah, more than likely what happened is the headset was the one that was picking up your sound from your microphone and the mic was too far away from your head. So that's probably what you had.
Yeah.
This is not a television production we're doing here, so it's no problem. It's good to have these kinds of challenges because that's something that could happen when you're actually online with your potential customer.
Yes, definitely. Have to be prepared. Can you give me access?
We need to give you access?
Yeah.
I think you already have access. Can you see
Yeah.
the share screen button in the middle, down below?
Yeah.
Big screen, yeah, green button, there you go. Perfect, all right.
Okay, thank you. Hello all. I am Vishwa. I am one of the founder of Ethersys, and we are explicitly working on cutting edge technology, especially on the IoT, deep learning, machine learning, and analytics for the data we collect and create value out of it. Our problem statement is how we ensure elements are connected, secured, and make it smart, simplified, and create value for the organization or people or users. Yes, our slogan is connect, simplify, and evolve. Evolve in terms of your business or your operational cost, or in terms of efficiency of the operations, or in terms of technology. Any of the domain we can evolve with respect to the using the technology. Our core customers are smart city, industrial automation, smart office, and institutions. They are all our core customers we are targeting for our solution. This is our solution. We provide end-to-end IoT solution from sensor to the creating value out of collected data. That is from different layers, from edge to the cloud, cloud to the analytics, analytics to the applications. All layers we provide a end-to-end solution for our customers. And we have hardware, and we have a edge analytics and edge aggregators and cloud platform that is independent of the any of the platform, either service providers like GCP or AWS or Azure, any of them. It can be deployed anywhere. That's how it is built. And then there will be application for the different purpose. This is our targeted customers: industry automation, renewable energy management, and the building management solutions. Here we create a unique values. One is we integrate with all the other top service providers or the equipment providers like ABB or Honeywell or any Siemens or any of them. That is integrated with the common platform and aggregate the data and create a value and automate the industry or building management or any of the use cases. These are all the few of the places what we deployed in industry automation in few places in nearby Bangalore. One is the industry automation here. They have hundreds of machines that is being monitored using our platform. And another one is the solar industry. We are monitoring and governing the services using our end-to-end platform, from Modbus devices to inverter to the Modbus device to the 4G LTE, and then cloud platform, and then analytics and the applications. And here there are two types of applications. One is a service provider application, and another one is the end user application. This is what we are targeting by 2024. We are planning to deploy 5 million devices. That is our target. That's so we have done a lot of analysis how we can target 5 million devices to deploy by 2024. Now, this many places IoTs, the devices are getting deployed. As per Gartner report, by end of 2022, around 75 billion devices will be deployed in all over the world. So we are targeting 0.025%, but we will be able to reach out that this is the value we can reach out. And already within 6 months, we are able to, in the very beginning stage, we are able to deploy at least around 500 devices. which is in the very beginning stage. This is in the 0 to 1 scale. We have to get into the 1 to nth hockey stick growth. Then I think we will hit the bigger market. This is about the founders. I am the one of the founder. I am coming up. I worked in Cisco and Adva Networking, and initially I joined in IISc and did MS and then MBA in product leadership. And another one co-founder is Suchrita Hegde. She's also coming up with around 12 years of experience, and she's mainly contributing in terms of UI, UX, and customer acquisition. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so that came in a little bit long at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you for all the presenters. Really, really great job. And with that, I want to hand it over to Nathan to take the lead in providing some feedback, some valuable feedback that really can help you elevate your presentation to the next level. Please, Nathan.
Super. Thank you very much, Claudio. And thank you all for going through those 3 pitches. You might be on the edge of your seat wondering what I'm going to say. Can you stop your share there so we get a full screen visual? Yeah. Thanks. So usually the way I do this is I take my notes on you speaking in a linear way, and then I feed it back to you in a linear way. So it's not necessarily, what I'm going to tell you is not necessarily in the order of importance. Okay, you get to decide what's important. And most importantly, I'm only one opinion. So you get to decide whether whatever I say, you get to use it or lose it. Okay, I'm not here to tell you my way is the best way or the highway. I've never been like that, and I never want to be like that. So let's start with John, who went first. And thank you, John, for doing that. Full disclosure, John mentioned before some of you came on that I have worked with John through his last incubator that he just, or the incubator that he just finished. And so he and I have had one-on-ones before. And personally, I just want to say, John, that was your very, very best that I've seen in terms of meeting you weeks ago to where you've come to today. And you've been out of the incubator or graduated from it now for a few weeks. So really great job. You've even made improvements beyond what we have worked on from what I saw today. I especially liked how you did the dirty little secret in the beginning, because that is an excellent way to hook your audience and get them curious and interested, and everybody wants to know a secret. So it's a super great way to get people engaged. You had excellent vocal variety in your voice and in your delivery today. Super great amount of enthusiasm. Even online, you showed a reserved amount of enthusiasm versus jumping around and going too crazy. So that was really good. I noticed today that your pausing has changed. You seem to be much more comfortable with pausing and letting silence out there for a moment. So well done on that. It seems like you've been working, from what I saw last time to now, you've been working on that one. And the way you talked about what you're doing and how you're doing it all came across very clearly. I think there's probably nobody on the line that doesn't understand that you help small e-commerce companies that are going from the small to medium to go big. The one question I did see people coming in with on the chat window is, of course, what's 3PL? Even though you said third-party logistics, it's no big deal. I mean, you say it enough times where I think people will finally catch on to that. But let's see, what else do I have for you? You seem to have been fitting in more and more similes, analogies, and metaphors to what you're doing. And in 3 minutes and 28 seconds, they came across as very natural today. When you said things like from the living room to the yellow pages analogy, you said, think about that. And that was a really excellent rhetorical question that you paused and let them think about that, just like you told them, think about that for a minute. Handing them Yelp, your facial expressions. I don't have anything negative or on the other side to actually tell you today. So let me stop right there. Let Claudio give you what he thinks of anything, and then I definitely want to see if someone in the audience would like to say something as well, because I know Michael out there in Austin has some excellent feedback that I've seen him putting in the chat window that perhaps he might even want to share with us. But Claudio, why don't you add to the gushing that I've just did? And folks, believe me, I'm not just gushing about John because I worked with him in the past. I hope all of you agree that that was a really good presentation. I mean, I'm ready to go to the next step. I'm ready to find out more. I'm ready to learn more. And I hope you are too.
It really was. It really, really was. Excellent. And I made the same kind of notes. I loved your opening with the dirty little secret. And I looked at the other attendees that had their video on. That's when they all leaned forward and were like, oh, what is it? What is it? So great suspense, evoking curiosity. It's a very, very important point. I actually also do not have any major improvements. I would love to see this once with slides, just to see how you're doing it with slides. But even without slides, it was absolutely perfect because we fully got what it's all about. So I'm gonna lean back as well and open the floor. I agree, Michael, you had some really, really great feedback in the chat window. Do you quickly want to take the microphone and provide a little bit more?
Sure. So I love the energy that you brought. I thought it was really good to be able to talk through where you're at. I think perhaps you started in a spot that was a little further down a discussion point, or perhaps in a spot where you assumed that there was some knowledge of something before it happened. I would have loved to hear a story. You know, Bob's been doing this in his basement, and he's really getting to a point now where he can't be shipping stuff out of his garage. His wife wants to park the car. It's really difficult, but starting any small businesses is very hard. So as they get to a certain point, they take the next step. This is what we do. And take the next step is really to go shopping for someone who can help you in a third-party logistics or 3PL kind of environment. Taking that next step, blah, blah, that would be great for me, because now I know who's the audience you're really talking to. Is that me? Am I looking at this? Or if, as an investor, if I'm looking at this thinking, yeah, I know a lot of people who are in that situation, or I fully can understand the situation that you're talking about because either I've experienced or I know someone. And now I understand that what you're trying to solve falls into this category. And why you're the best person to go is the next step is like, I can see this, here's the problem, and here's what we do. We do X, Y, and Z. This is why I'm the best guy to do it, because I know this and I've been involved in the industry and I know X, X, and X, and I can really bring that expertise to do it. And this is why we've created this whole platform to be able to do X, X, X. So I loved your energy though. You brought great energy. I just felt like I started in the middle of the conversation that perhaps if I knew what was going on ahead of time, it would be good. As for the slides are props unless they show something that you can't describe. Here's a graph showing something. Here's a whatever it is. Speak to you. You're the presentation. The slides really are just a justification for something that you can't quickly or easily describe. I'll go on mute now.
No, thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. I like the humanizing the pitch a little bit more by kind of telling that anecdotal story. It's nice. Good feedback. Well, thank you, everyone. This has been great. Oh, was there another comment?
Yeah, there is one more, and I love it how people are starting to volunteer to provide some feedback. So Massimo has some comment as well. Please take the mic, Massimo.
Yes, thank you. Of course, it was a very good speech, but I tend to focus on the things that can be improved just because it's the way I was grown up. To me, 3 small things, 2 technical ones. Remember, regardless if you're using technology or in person, things can go wrong. So I heard your microphone had problems, not the internet, it was the microphone and the slides. It was 100% clear to me that you were reading your slides. So it's just a 3 minutes speech. So imagine you go to this, angel investor thing and your computer freezes. You cannot rely on slides. What you're gonna do? So for 3 minutes, memorize the speech so that you know it, even if you don't have your computer with you. And just to connect a little bit with Michael, I think before, I just understood that probably you're an incubator, so maybe you don't have customers yet. But if you do, please provide one example, maybe without names, but just of what you really did. Because to me, it was kind of just words. I mean, why should I trust you? You say, yeah, don't trust those shipping companies, but why should I trust you? Because, I mean, you didn't give me any more reason to trust you. So if you can, provide one specific real life example for that. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. Claudio, we might have to change our method in the future, and instead of 3 presenters, we might just have 1 and then let everybody help that 1 person, but we'll figure that out. Thank you so much, everybody. We do want to respect time, your time, so I'll move on to the next presenter, and we can always continue this another time and maybe have a follow-up with the people who presented today. We can offer you a follow-up for the future to show us, if you would like to, how you've improved. Okay, thank you. Next is Mayank. Okay, Mayank, Taxi and Media Company. Okay, the opening to me was a little abrupt. It took me a second or 2 to understand what you were actually doing. So just as with, you've already heard, perhaps a little bit of a story in the beginning could help us understand more about what you're doing and the benefits of what you are doing. When you say we help you take your brand to your customers and on the road, to me that was a very confusing statement, because how do you take a brand to, I mean, it's like, I don't know, I would love to work on that with you sometime and turn that into something that's perhaps more visually represented in my mind so I can see what you're talking about versus trying to figure it out. For you, Mayank, and just about 90% of the other people that pitch like this, your slides are too dense. So if you're going to use slides, I recommend 2 decks. 1 deck like you used today, which has 12-point, 18-point fonts, really small stuff that you send to people or leave behind, but you never use them on a screen because there's just too many words and it causes your viewer to read those words. You cannot stop yourself from reading. If your eyes are open and you look at words, your brain is engaged in reading. So a lot less words. You want to make that second deck look more like billboards, just a word, a number, a big picture, so that you can talk to it while the person is listening to your words rather than trying to figure out what all those words are on your screens. And that's in general. Just need 2 decks, one that has hardly anything in it and one that has everything in it. The one that has hardly anything in it will actually give you a lot of freedom as a presenter, because now you don't have to follow the bouncing ball or skip over stuff or expect the viewer to actually read that while you're talking about something else. You know, most people's brains have a really hard time with that. You had really excellent articulation. I heard all of your words and they made sense to me. But I think we need to really massage this into a simpler pitch for that first look. Because when you say things like, we have traceability and accountability and measurability, while that sounds nice and it's a melodic sounding good use of the rule of 3, I don't quite understand like how that tracks back to what you're doing. And this is not a complicated topic to understand. I know you know that. And to the point made by Michael earlier, is telling us you have 130 taxis on the road. We want to know that sooner than where it came into the presentation, because that establishes that trust and credibility that you're not just somebody with an idea, but you're actually implementing. You have customers. In all cases, if you have customers, I always tell my clients, stop bullshitting about the problem statement, which normally is problem, solution, blah, blah, blah. Stop about the problem. Just get to what you do for those customers. And when you're talking about the customer, you just wrap in the problem. We met so-and-so taxi. They were having a nightmare with advertising. And so when they came to us, we asked blah, 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 blah. And now they have blah, blah, and blah, blah, blah. And that will build so much more trust with your audience than you just saying, here's the problem, here's our solution, blah, 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 blah. And here's our customers. Bring your customers, your pilots and your beta users in much sooner, because when you can talk about them, you're dissing your competition without even needing a competition slide. Because if your customer's using you, they must have looked at your competition. They're not stupid people. So you just have to tell us why they're using you over the competition. We're sold. It's like reference selling without having them talk to the actual customer themselves. You had I wrote down footprint slide and numbers slide in May. Your footprint slide and your numbers slide. That's what I'm talking about, billboard slides. Big numbers,
Right.
big pictures. And perhaps you could even start there. I don't know.
Understood.
And then your close, last bit, your close was a little bit kind of fluffy. You know, if you're stuck in traffic, look around, see us, give us a shout. Hey, there's your shout. I would be more specific on the ask of your audience at the end. But great job. Claudio.
Excellent. Well, we are really, really struggling with time right now. So the only thing that I want to add here is, for me, it didn't come out really clearly why you. And then this is really adding on to what Nathan said, right? It's that uniqueness that you bring to the table, right? What makes you uniquely qualified to offer this solution to the world? And I know there is some answer there, but it hasn't really come out, at least for me.
Okay, and in interest of time, perhaps this is our first time, folks, so we apologize that we're running out of time, and we will restructure. Claudio and I'll debrief and figure out a way that we can perhaps relax the input and get more input from all of you, because that's really the real hope, is that it's not just Claudio and I speaking, it's all of us speaking. Okay, so let me jump in and give Vishwar his feedback so that at least we get all of that out, and hopefully I can give you a pro tip at the end here, or a couple quick little tips. As we all noticed, it's always a good idea to check your sound quality with your audience. Just say, is everybody able to hear me, without just jumping right into it, because you would have been going, and we would have been trying to get to you. So that was an excellent thing for one of us to say, hey, we can't hear you. But if they don't do that, because of being polite, you might just want to ask, and I recommend this to everybody, just ask, can you hear me okay, and can you see my screen, if you're sharing screens? Okay. I would like to see you think more along the lines of a story, because your pitch was kind of typical in the, here's our problem statement, here's this, here's this, here's this. And that's not a story, that's more of just a typical investor pitch. And we've seen so many thousands of those that I really would like to see you morph that into a story that helps us understand why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing what you're doing, and what the results are of what you're doing. Okay. And I'll just leave you, I have a couple of the things that I can obviously share with you at another time, but the most important thing I wanted to share with you is this. And Michael made this mention in his comments, and that is, when you're speaking to a new audience, it's really important that you build trust as quickly as possible with your audience. And just talking about a problem or a solution or a customer isn't necessarily the only, I mean, talking about the customer is not the only way to build trust. So all of you on the line need to design what I like to refer to as a humble brag that you can drop in the beginning. You don't need a slide for it. Your team slide can be off to the end if you want, or slide number 8 or 10 or 12, doesn't matter to me. But when you're starting out your presentation, your pitch, whether it's an investor pitch or a company pitch or a peer pitch or anywhere, you need to drop in very gently, why you? And it's not a, I did this and I did that. And it's not a CV read. It's more like, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited to be here because over the last 12 years of coaching TED and TEDx presenters, I am just really looking forward to sharing with you the lessons, blah, 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 blah. You see how that, it's just 12 years of working with, okay, that guy probably knows what he's talking about. And that I'd like to challenge all of you to come up with your humble brag. And maybe one of these sessions we do, Claudio, could be all about humble brags. Because I can tell you it is one of the most challenging things for people to come up with something they can say that builds that instant trust or credibility that you all need if you don't have things like a decade of experience in what you're doing, a PhD, or some incredible success. Okay, so we have 4 minutes, Claudio.
Excellent, excellent.
In 4 minutes, but I'll turn it back to you for a moment, my host.
Yes, excellent feedback. Thank you very much, Nathan. So the plan would have been that now we are going into a little mini workshop, 15 minutes, but I know Nathan has to rush off. He has his next. Oh, I thought you have somewhere in.
I have 3 minutes. That's all I need to give them that thing I was going to do at the end anyway. I'll just have less.
Perfect. We'll just tag it on at the end. The one thing I want to quickly mention is I will be posting this video into the presenter zone. And I will send out an email to everybody with the link where it is. And you will need to register to the presenter zone if you want to provide feedback. So we are gonna put the videos up there. And then if you didn't have a chance today to provide feedback, but you really want to share something with the presenter, just tag it onto that video on the presenter zone. And that way we can all benefit from each other. And with that, back to Nathan again for, instead of 15 minutes, 3 minutes of pro tips. Speak fast and get it done.
All right, I only need 2 minutes, and that's exactly what we have on the clock. So what I would like to finish with here today is a topic that everybody asks me about, and that is, how do I get over my nerves? How do I deal with my nerves? So I'll give you 3 things that you can do to help you deal with those nerves. And then I'll give you a gift to help you even further. First of all, I want all of you to understand that if you're not nervous, you shouldn't present. If you don't feel butterflies, you're probably not in the right mood. You don't have the right energy. Go get one of those things, snap it on your heart, and then hit the button because you're probably not alive. Of course, we all get nervous. I was nervous about this thing today. I know Claudia was nervous, but we're excited nervous, not fearing nervous kind of stuff. So here are 3 things that you can do to help you manage your nerves. The first one is you need to take control of your breath. You need to breathe, and breathe deeply so that you're not doing what they call clavicle breathing. You need to take control of your breath. If you really have fear of public speaking or fear of speaking, check out tactical breathing. It's a technique that they teach people in the first responders, military, and police. It works. The second thing you can do is make sure your posture is better than it normally is. Stand tall, sit tall, open up your chest so that the breathing that you do can fill up down in the abdominal cavity, okay? And then the third thing, the magic, is you need to do something to get your head out of thinking about the future or the past. You need to get into the now, into the present moment. And the way to do that is to find a piece of music that when you hear that music either in your head or you play it in your head with headphones on, it makes your arms and your hair just stand on end. It gives you goosebumps from excitement. For me, that's the theme song from the first Rocky movie. When I hear that theme song, it lights me up and it gets me ready to present in any situation, and it makes me into the here and the now. So with that, I'm right on time. In the chat window, I've just given you a link to my electronic business card. At the bottom of the business card, all of you can have a free copy of my book that I published less than a year ago called Harness Your Speaking Anxiety. I just pulled 3 of the most important techniques and tips that you can use for harnessing that. Take a look at it. It's yours to use. If you look at my electronic business card, you can download it right at the bottom there. And I'll, with that, say thank you so much for giving us your time today, and we are still on time.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Thank you very much, everybody attending here today. I hope we met your expectations. Originally, we wanted to do one of these things once a month. Since we got fairly positive feedback and we're gonna put our finger on the pulse after this one, we might do a better frequency, maybe once every other week or something like that in the very beginning. So look out for an email from me. And in the meantime, thanks again and have a great day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. See you next time. Thank you very much.